Hey, just me again here at the top of the episode to remind you we have a Patreon page. Patreon.com/won't be forgetting that pod has plenty of exclusive and bonus content, including Patreon only episodes. I've got a few different parts of exclusive material. Some of the stuff that we discuss on the podcast as well will be featured on there, and any announcements or anything coming up early will be on there too. So if you can, please support the show. It genuinely does help. I love doing the show so much, and it just allows me to do it, to be honest with you. So if you can head over to patreon.com/won't be forgetting that pod, I would absolutely love that. But enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Won't Be Forgetting That, a podcast talking about all the most awkward and embarrassing moments that people have had whilst working in the arts and entertainment industry. I'm your podcast host, Seb Muirhead, and today we have a guest. They are a musician, a comedian, an actor, Oliver Clark.
Oh, look out.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Bit of fucking energy to come in with
Can
as well.
I say,
I love it.
And we've had chats before we've come on air, so
yes,
it does feel weird sometimes to then come in with such energy.
Yeah.
The chats were not this high, but still, they were great chats.
But we're performing now. We're here.
Which we were talking about too, but you can't help it. Can I say your voice is just smooth as silk?
Oh, thank you so much.
It's delicious.
I mean, coming from an absolute professional like yourself as well, I'm taking that compliment all the way to the bank.
Do you do voiceovers as well?
I don't, but it's mostly because I'm lazy. I know. It's because, you know why? I've just not put myself out there for them. So anyone listening, please get in touch.
Yes, that's what we want. Some of that.
But I usually like to start off the show with a compliment as well, Oliver, because this show, and it has been brought up in the past, I think friend of the show, Matt Stewart, mentions.
Love Matt Stewart.
Yes, we all do. That's why he was on the show, and why I continue to listen to his 5 million podcast.
How many has he got now? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's up in the 3 digits now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to keep up, I'll be honest.
3 digits.
Yeah. He mentioned, like, when he was on this show, he said, I am a good comedian. I don't want this to make it sound like I'm just a terrible performer. And I'm like, that is never what I wanted from this podcast.
Right.
I don't want to bring on people that I genuinely admire their work and I'm a fan of to be like, hey, just talk about the worst points in your career and just make it sound like you're absolutely shithouse. So I do like to start off this compliment. I do like to start this podcast off with little compliments now.
Great.
So I don't want to start off by saying like how much I loved Give Me That, your little single released last year.
Thank you.
I would like to start off by saying how much I loved it, but what I do want to start off with now is Honk.
Oh, yes. Very good.
I don't want to explain what Honk is. I want everyone to go out, Google Honk. I presume you don't need to put in any other words.
No,
just Honk.
Honk.
Yeah, and find out our album launching today. Album drop next week.
Yeah, so drops today. Launch is the live launch with an 8-piece band at the Bergy Seltzer on the 25th.
Yeah, beautiful. So I've fucked that up already by saying drop and launch the wrong way around. I said that like 4 times before I started.
It's interchangeable.
Yeah, good.
You know,
good.
It's very
Thank you for that.
But the album, drops today called Honk. So if you look up Oliver Clark Honk on Spotify or Apple, it's Apple Music's all on.
Wherever you would prefer to send people, it'll all be in the show notes as well. So please, all you beautiful perverts listening, go and click on all those highlighted links. But yes, it's so excited to hear it.
Yeah. It's that thing where I thought I'd have it done a year ago, but oh my god, keep going.
Albums are so much fucking work.
They're a lot of work, but this is now the 5th one I've done under Oliver Clark. I've done another one as well under John Cox, which is more of a blues rock type endeavour. Hence, it was a bit different. Whereas the Oliver Clark stuff is definitely a throwback sound.
Yeah.
And this one especially, it's called Honk because every track is filled with horns.
Oh.
Dare I say it, it's the horniest album yet.
Oh, you have come in prepared with that statement, sir.
You know, anyway, it's, but yeah, and I love it. So it's a very kind of, Little Richard type, old school rock and roll.
Yeah.
Just with more kind of soul brass in it.
Fuck, it's upbeat.
It's upbeat.
That kind of music.
I want high energy on this. Yeah.
Yes. I love upbeat music, like something you can just something to make you happy.
Yeah.
So many songs I listen to and I'm like, fuck, it's a beautiful song. I feel worse for listening to that.
Yeah, well, that's my whole thing. I'm not really a sentimental guy, especially with the music I write. So I just want to have fun with music, and that's what this album's about. Just fun, pure fun.
That's my favorite kind of music. Honestly.
Yeah, it gets me going.
Yeah, and that's I think why I love musicals so much as well. Because I'm like, I swear to God, like if somebody wanted me to join a cult, just like write a musical with all upbeat songs in it, I'm there.
sure.
I almost became a Mormon after the Book of Mormon. But, like...
I'm going to say, and it's weird that I don't really enjoy musicals.
Yeah, that's...
It's weird. I like Book of Mormon. I like Book of Mormon. I like watching it, and I've seen it twice, so that says something. But Jersey Boys was good, I guess maybe because it had music, which was upbeat and fun. But I don't know.
It is a very acquired taste, and I'm fully across that as well.
Yeah.
I realise it's not for everyone, but my God, it hits just in that right spot for me.
I agree, but I think you're coming at it from the right angle. It's fun.
Yeah.
If you see it as anything else than fun, then you kind of miss the point.
Yeah. Look, I'm not... Yeah, there's a lot of musicals out there that are... And I mean, like, absolutely good on you trying to change the world, but I'm like... You're singing and tap dancing as well, like
exactly.
Trying to deliver a really serious message.
Keep it surface level.
Yeah, right.
That's
I know.
where it needs to be.
And that's all I want, honestly.
Yeah.
And again, those musicals maybe just aren't for me.
No, true.
Yeah,
but Elvis musicals though, I love like Elvis films. I can dig those
the old school
films.
Oh.
There was so many. It was like 26 or 27.
He did so many
it's
fucking
ridiculous,
films.
Right?
It was insane.
Yeah.
Just watching some of them, I'm like, are they all the same film as well?
They're all the same film.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing. By the end, it was just like different, same film, different vehicle.
Yeah, right.
You know, boat,
genuinely,
motorcycle, car.
Yeah, right. Few songs in there.
The songs were pretty good though.
Yeah,
everyone had some classics.
Like facing the same direction because there was only ever like cameras in one area.
The soundstage, everything was soundstage.
It's so funny, like those old films, and they're such a time capsule to watch.
Man, absolutely. But I love Elvis too, so that's I'm a bit biased towards that.
Exactly right. Like
it's all that, but it's all the old school music. I just love it so much because it requires sort of singing, rather than like I like pop music, and I think there's absolute place for it. And I'm digging Dua Lipa at the moment. I think that's great pop. Really love that stuff. But you can just comp all those vocals together in editing, right?
Sure.
So but back in the day, they had to sing it. Sometimes, when it was really far back, in one take.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, imagine performers doing that now. I don't know if there's many that could... Oh, look, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I assume there's probably not many that could probably do it in one take.
But like, exactly, right? Because you're paying by the hour in those old... Well, I mean, even nowadays, but like those old school music recording studios, you're like... Yeah, we only have 2 hours in here, guys. Like, you have to get this done quickly.
So funny. I don't know if you've seen that doco on the producer David Foster.
Oh, I've heard of it. I didn't actually see it.
Really good.
No.
I mean, I didn't realize a lot of the stuff he had done, and he kind of was the guy that made Bublé.
Yeah,
kind of what he is. He kind of helped Boobs. But he said there was one woman for a musical. Oh man, I'm going to stuff this story up because I don't even know her name. Pretty bad. Anyway, but she was coming in to lay the track for the album for the musical.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, she came in, sung her heart out and whatever. And then they're like, oh, great, if you can just do it again, we got the levels. She goes, no, I only do one take. And then she just she came in with dogs, picked them up and left.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like Krusty the Clown doing his, hey, it's Krusty, and then
we're ready to record, sorry.
Okay, we're ready. It was like that.
But, like, it makes sense in the respect of musicals, because you're not getting another take on stage.
True.
But, like, also, maybe... expect to sing it more than once on the recording day.
Oh, it's pretty funny. I do like the balls of that.
I respect that unless you're the person working with them.
That's I like the story of it.
Curse them to the grave.
Could you imagine? If it's peeking out the whole time and you can't even use it, you're like,
right,
it's unusable.
Because you're like, I don't know if this person's super quiet or like if they're going to come out and blow everything out.
Well, she was a big singer, massive voice. And I think the track they used obviously was that, and it was great.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Another great doco, by the way, which came out a month ago, is the We Are the World doco on that, the We Are the World song, the charity song.
Yeah.
Man, really good. Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones essentially produced the whole thing.
Yes,
really good story about how they all came together.
That was
but they were all kind of doing, using one mic for 3 people. So
it was
so if one person fucked it up, that all 3 of them would have to do the same take again.
Oh, you could make some enemies that day, I reckon.
Now, I think Huey Lewis stuffed it up a couple of times.
Oh, Huey.
I think there's a thing on TikTok where you see Michael Jackson looking at him.
Oh, really?
Oh, Jackson's got glasses on, but you can just tell he's kind of not seething, but he's just like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, right. Especially when you're like, this guy's a professional, right?
True, but I think
know what he's meant
but
to be
you learn in
doing
the doco, like they're doing this at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, or later, because they all stayed up to do it. Anyway,
of course, yeah.
Great doco, worth watching.
Okay, yeah. Well, they're both going to my list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
But we'll move on to the podcast now.
Yes.
Opposed to complimenting all these beautiful documentaries out there.
Yeah.
So you're a true multi-hyphen, which they call in the industry, which I personally hate it when people call...
Which is different from a multi-hymen.
Yes.
That may need to be cut. It just
please DM Oliver. Yeah. We'll be giving out all of his details at the end. DM Oliver if you need to know what a multi-hymen is. And also, if it's not in here at all, hello to all the Patreon listeners.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multi-hyphen.
Yes, true
okay.
multi-hyphen. So, as we mentioned in the opening, comedian, musician, actor, Melbourne heartthrob. You do it all.
Jesus, that's a new one.
Yeah. I should put that in the opening.
My girlfriend might agree, but I think that's the limit of it, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
DM Oliver if you think he's a Melbourne heartthrob, Australian heartthrob, worldwide heartthrob.
Ooh,
yeah.
Boy, we're reaching there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
him know where
I appreciate it.
Yeah. But so I always ask, I have my go-to questions for a lot of people in comedy.
Yep.
You always have your open mics you go to with questions about the embarrassing stories, or you have your corporates with actors. We were even talking about it. Yeah.
I forgot about corporates. There is one there I could say.
Oh,
actually.
beautiful. I'm very happy. But with acting, we were even talking before the podcast started.
Yeah.
TV commercial auditions are I don't want to say bane of every actor's life, but the source of all of my stories, personally.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, with musicians as well, you've got your open mics, you've got your playing in pub to 3 people, you got your maybe playing somewhere which people weren't expecting music as well.
It's true, but I'm going to give you elevated stories.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm going to give you bigger stories.
Yes, so I don't know if you've come in with a way you want to tell them chronologically, or if you want to group them together in the different multi-hyphen areas. I can hear the podcast dog maybe about to break into the room as well. Oh no, she's behaved herself today.
Wow.
This might be a first for, definitely this year of not having the podcast dog in.
It deserves a round of applause.
Yeah, it does. A very small. There we go. Thank you, podcast dog. But yes, sorry. If you have any way you would like to start.
So, back in this is going all the way back to 2009. So a fair
right.
15 years ago now, right?
Yeah.
Crazy to think it was that long ago.
Terrifying, almost.
Terrifying.
Is that 15 years ago? Oh, God.
Dude, I know.
I'm going to have a little anxiety attack on the podcast.
And I was doing, once again, auditioned for this show.
Yep.
I got it.
TV show, was it?
Okay, it was.
Oh, okay.
It was a two-ease venture called 6 Beers of Separation.
Oh, okay.
Now, the premise is you have to track down your quote-unquote hero in 6 degrees of separation.
Okay.
So, kind of an interesting concept, right? Now, there was me. I got cast as the comedian. So I was a comedian looking for another comedian. There was a muso looking for a muso. There was a filmmaker looking for a director. And there was, they ended up getting a graphic designer looking for Bam Margera. That was his hero.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I say hero lightly because I had said who I wanted to meet in my audition, and they disregarded all of those and go, well, how about Will Arnett? And I went,
okay.
I love Will Arnett. He's great. And they went, great, you got the job. I was like, oh, sweet. So I had to track down Will Arnett in 6 degrees of separation.
Right.
Yeah, no, look, it was produced, so it's not like I had to...
we have Will Arnett, so it has to be Will Arnett.
Well, I think the producer loved him and wanted him.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, but I enjoy Will Arnett. I think he's fantastic.
For sure, hey?
And so I had to get like the first step, towards there, and I went, okay, well, look. So I ended up going to London, Vegas, LA, New York to do all
far
this.
out.
So 3 weeks of filming this show to eventually try and get to Will Arnett.
Yeah.
But I did that. They then joined the links.
Yeah.
All the way up.
Yeah.
But it was on Foxtel On Demand only.
Oh, okay.
And it was really a show for online. It was like one of the first sort of real shows geared specifically for online.
And 2009 as well.
2009. So it was kind of, I guess for Australia it was the first. I think one of the first things.
Right,
anyway,
that would make sense.
But I think they won some awards for doing it for the online thing, which is great. It wasn't a huge hit, that's for sure, but it was fun to do and man, challenging because a camera in your face for 3 weeks is really hard. It's essentially reality.
Yeah.
Where they just hold that camera in your face for so long, and you go, what more do you?
Yeah,
and they almost want you to break.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like car crash TV. I mean, that's reality TV.
It's reality TV.
As well, isn't it?
Just don't feed them. Wait till they're super hungry and get those raw emotions.
And exhausted.
And
you've been traveling so
that's
much.
What they want. They don't want the good stuff. Anyway, so part of this, I was in Vegas. I'd already met up with a couple of people there. But this next guy I was meeting up with was someone who I didn't know.
Okay.
But they went, okay, his name is Bernie Newman.
Okay.
See, it wouldn't ring any bells.
No.
Really.
No.
Anyway, but he was a big management guy to the stars, right? At the time, he was managing Muhammad Ali.
Oh, wow.
And Siegfried and Roy. Yeah,
okay.
So Muhammad Ali was at the back end of his career, obviously.
Yeah.
Siegfried and Roy at the back, I'm assuming, as well.
Was that pre or post Tiger?
I don't know.
Yeah, right, okay.
I don't know. Anyway, so we're walking down. So essentially what I had to do was an interview with this guy.
Yeah, okay.
So we're walking down old school Fremont, Vegas, down that strip.
Wow.
Into the Golden Nugget.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, right.
What a name as well. Just on a complete side note.
Very funny.
Yeah.
And so we go in there and we go into the room where we're supposed to be meeting Bernie. And the whole way down I'm going, because I didn't know this guy. I was like, I kept going, what's his name again? Bert. No, it's not Bert. It's Bernie. Don't call him Bert. Don't call him Bert. He doesn't arrive for a while. So the producer goes off looking for him. And I'm just there with the sound guy.
Yep. Oh, just you two? Like,
we're just waiting there.
Yeah, right.
Hoping they come back with Bernie.
Fingers crossed.
Meanwhile, Bernie walks in. I didn't know what it looks like. And the sound guy's going, I think that could be him. Oh, anyway, then the producer comes back. And I go, g'day, Bert. Nice to meet you. Right. And I completely fuck. And he goes, Bert, who the fuck is Bert? And he just does, he's got that real thick accent.
Old school.
And he is he's not happy. Like, he's genuinely pissed off because he kind of doesn't really know why he's there, which is fair. It's a weird concept.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Someone's just interviewing me and they want to get to someone. They're using me to get to
American,
someone.
Australian guys as well. What are they doing over here? These Aussies. What are these Aussies doing
I don't even know who this guy is. Anyway, it was like so awkward. The producer's going, okay, I'm going to have to take him aside and try and talk him down because he was genuinely getting pretty fired up.
Yeah.
And Bernie, he goes, look, I really don't want to fucking do this, but I'm going to do it as a favor for the producer.
Yeah,
and so then I had to sit down with this guy and do like a weird interview, which wasn't much of an interview. He wasn't really listening to me. He's going, oh, you got to get to New York. Yeah, the New York, the city, the so nice they named it twice. Okay. You know, it's just like giving me all this rope, right? Kind of funny, you know. I'm like, okay, this is
old school entertainer.
This is fine, but he just wasn't digging me, and that's fair because I fucked his name up.
Well, I mean, also like it happens.
Yeah. But I was genuinely a bit. I was blushing, and where you're just not feeling good.
And if those old school guys can taste blood in the water as well, they're
he was
savage.
He was and then it was kind of like a 10 to 12 minute interview.
Yeah, okay.
Just not really knowing.
10 to 12 minute interview when it's going bad is a lifetime as well.
It was genuinely, I think there's almost a bit of me that's blocked it out.
Yeah.
I can only remember little details.
That's why I'm always so grateful people coming on this podcast, because I'm like, these are the stories we repress.
Yeah.
These are the ones we push deep down, and maybe we'll think about every, like, once in a while when we're trying to sleep and like, oh, fuck, that happened.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. And I'm making people replay it to an audience now. So, like, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I presume that was all recorded as well.
I know.
Did you watch the interview back? Like, have you seen it since
so I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Look, they chop it up so it's okay.
Yep.
And there wasn't, to be honest, that much they used.
Yep. Fair
probably
enough.
because there probably wasn't that much.
Yep.
But also, I mean, that's, I wasn't an interviewer. It was supposed to be a conversation, but really it was more just me asking. So really the only question I had to ask was, how do I get to Will Arnett? Do you know anyone that can get me to Will Arnett? And who did he give? I think maybe he may have given the... Oh, geez, man, I even forget who he gave.
Yeah.
But weirdly, the next story latches onto this anyway. So that was
my segue.
That was my first failing. And he may have got me to The Amazing Jonathan.
Oh.
So he was a magician.
I've heard that name before,
comedian. Yeah. He was quite big in Australia because he went on Hey Hey It's Saturday a lot.
Oh, okay.
So he was, I don't know if you know that show.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we all know it. I mean, I moved here in 2011.
Okay.
So I know it for some of the wrong reasons
right.
But I know of it before that just through word of mouth and people talking about it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So he was a staple when he came out. He came on. And he's genuinely funny.
Yeah.
He was. And then, I got to go to the Amazing Jonathan, and he was performing there. He was performing in Vegas for like a decade or a few. Like he's been there for a long time.
Just a staple of like
a staple. Yeah. So he was in this theatre called the Harmon Theatre, I think, which was next to the MGM Grand.
Yeah, right. So
it held about 500 people.
Nice.
So, like, not a massive place, but if you're doing a show every night, and I wouldn't say like, he was a huge Jerry Seinfeld type.
No.
Not drawing that kind of a crowd, but obviously he has things. Anyway, he asked me to open for him, but that was all arranged anyway.
Yeah, of
but
course,
I got to do 5 minutes up front for him, which was quite good.
Yeah, nice. And
I was like, I get to play Vegas. This is sweet.
I mean, that's massive
like,
in itself.
One of my dreams was to play Vegas. And, this is going to be it.
And a lot of people in Vegas are in Vegas for Vegas. They're not in Vegas to see necessarily the Amazing Jonathan.
That's right.
So they're there just to see entertainment.
That is true. And that was a lesson I learned for sure because it's everyone from a lot of countries.
Yeah.
And I got there. I was in the green room. And then this other guy appears. And it turns out he is the guy that normally opens for the Amazing Jonathan.
Okay.
And he didn't know I was going to be taking his spot. So there's a bit of awkwardness around that.
Right, yeah.
That was fine. Anyway, but it gets worse because then I get introduced. I go out and I do this. And I'm looking, and there is literally in a 500-seat theatre, there's about 70 people just scattered, though. Not even ushered to the middle so they can be at least try and get a bit of energy there or something.
So you can see them.
I could hear them and I could see them. I could hear them because my act was not going down.
Oh.
It was like crickets big time. I think they even showed this on the footage and put cricket noises in there.
Come on, guys.
I know, like... And the funny thing is, like this is TV to a T where I'd been in London, obviously the week, well not obviously, but the week before, and I'd done a couple of gigs there and they killed. I was like, what a great start. This is great. We're going to have some good footage. They didn't show them at all. They just showed this Vegas one as like my first gig. And it's just the worst fucking gig. So this is my introduction to playing Vegas. And then the Amazing Jonathan's outro was, give it up for Oliver Clark from Australia. He may not be funny, but he has leukemia.
Oh my God. So that was your Make-A-Wish.
That's my Make-A-Wish.
Far
brutal.
And way to end for a start.
And the reason I could see them was because I was chatting to them directly by the end because they were heckling, and it was just like, let's just chat.
Well, a lot of Vegas, it's not a normal show, so they have their booths there, and it's quite well lit because the servers need to be able to see where they're going.
Yeah,
so you're like. The audience isn't hidden in darkness.
No, not as much as normal, for sure.
Especially when it's 70 people there versus 500 seats. You can see the empty seats
you can
so much.
Hear the empty seats.
Oh, and that is rough. And especially when, again, people aren't there to see the Amazing Jonathan, or they aren't there necessarily for the art of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
They might have just got comped to ticket because some drunk guy threw up on their roulette table. Because there's so many reasons that people are there, not just for comedy. They're there for all sorts of reasons, and it was a Wednesday night. Yeah, and you never know. You're right. They might have comped them. They might have done whatever. Yeah,
he wasn't earning much money that night for sure. But he was really lovely though, and he had a few pointers at the end. I was like, that's a very good point. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
he's since passed away. He was really sick for a long time. Actually, not long after that, he got sick. I don't really know what it was, but he was like, I've got a year to live, telling everyone. But everyone was like, is he having a laugh? Is this a joke? Is this another one of his
leukemia jokes?
But then he kind of survived a while, and then a couple of years ago, I think he passed.
Oh, wow. I did not know
finally,
that.
But interesting.
Yeah, right.
I think there's a doco about it.
Yeah.
And that's in the doco, they're like, are you doing this as a prank for the
Are
doco?
you actually okay? Like,
I
yeah.
haven't seen the doco. I do want to see it. But.
I do. I love some of those obscure documentaries as well. I'll be honest with you. Like
Yeah.
the more obscure the subject,
Yes.
and then because some people are so unguarded in those documentaries as well.
Yeah.
I fucking love watching them.
Pretty
I really
great.
do. Yeah, but I mean, like, it's tough being thrown up in
Yes.
front of a crowd of. Well, not a crowd as well for a start.
Yeah.
But then, like, again, I've never performed in Vegas, but it's its own beast.
It's
like,
its
you're
own
not
beast.
going in and you're not going like, hey, how about, I don't know, like your local gear that you can do and stuff like that.
I mean, you could talk about Vegas, but that's not what I did on stage. That wasn't my sort of thing. I would, I had an act, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, like the stage persona was a piss take of a Vegas entertainer.
That's right.
Fully tuxed up, tuxedo, and going out and just kind of swinging and clicking fingers and hey, good to be here, blah blah blah. But I think because you're in Vegas, it kind of loses that appeal because people, I guess, take you for real.
You seriously? And they're like, are you just a bad version of what I'm seeing every other night?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, and having cameras on you as well, man, it all adds to the pressure of it. That shit's, it's kind of hard.
Oh, absolutely.
It's pretty hard.
And especially, like, you were saying, it was London the week before, wasn't it?
Yeah, so London the week before.
So you're Melbourne to London, which is 20 hours flight.
Oh, yeah. And literally off the plane, a camera was in my face at Heathrow. And then, so get that.
What is it? 18 hours to Vegas from London?
Oh, jeez. What is it? I don't think it's that much, is it?
Is it not? Yeah.
No, I think it's a bit shorter, maybe 14.
Okay, 14. So you go to Vegas. On a plane so much for back to back.
Yeah.
Every different time zone.
Yeah.
I find Australian comedians translate really well to Britain and vice versa.
That's what I find as well. Yeah.
In America, maybe not so much. They're a bit more, I don't know, I don't want to say brash with their comedy, but like they're, it's just a different style.
Yeah.
So maybe Americans coming over here, they're like, just screaming at the audience doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, there's a bit of that.
Yeah.
There's a bit of that. In America, there was, last time I was over there, it was interesting to see just how much like comics were still talking about like races a lot. Like it was interesting. I was like, oh, haven't we? I don't know. I just even like there was like black comics got up and were just sort of bagging out Hispanics kind of thing. I noticed a lot of that.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like I don't know, Melbourne's such a mixing pot, and even Britain to an extent as well. But like America kind of has it in the really built up cities like New York, but a lot of it's still quite like segregated to different neighborhoods and stuff in America. I find again. Who knows if I'm saying anything true here, but that's what couple of times I've been
from what
there.
your experience is, right? Yeah, and I spent a lot of time in New York. So that's kind of what I found.
Yeah,
interesting, great city though.
Yeah, I've never been. I'd love to go, but God, it seems like a lot as well.
It is a lot. It's weird. I love it, but I have no desire to get back.
Yeah,
like I stayed there probably for. I looked to move there, and I really only lasted 5 months, 6 months.
That's fair enough, though.
Oh, look, it was. I was running out of cash. It was that thing.
That's too easy to do there.
Yeah, and it's It was hard also because I would get up wearing the suit.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to do a few open mics in a night or something. Yep. But I'm not hopping on public transport
of course not.
With a suit.
But at the same time...
Not a blue suit. You know what I mean?
That's the place to do it in New York. Nobody bat an eyelid.
I know. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true. But you are making yourself a bit of a target.
Also, absolutely, yeah. And you're like, this blue suit presumably cost a little bit of money. I don't want to, get...
Oh, yeah, there is that angle
some
as well.
sick from the subway on it.
A bit of that, yeah. It's funny, though. But yeah, so that Vegas night was not the best. No, and I didn't feel great. And I knew it was going to get televised.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Again, that's it. When it's recorded, and again, even what we mentioned with the auditions nowadays, everything's recorded.
Yeah.
I remember doing auditions back in the day where they had VHS recorders, and I'm like, nobody's keeping those VHSs. They're too bulky. They're just getting re-recorded over for a start. Yeah. But now it's all on someone's got a drive or the cloud or something like that, and I'm
crazy, isn't it?
It's terrifying. Genuinely terrifying.
It is terrifying.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm sure there's too many of them out there to any of them to come back out, but hopefully none of them just slip out into the atmosphere and are seen by anyone. I don't know. The way I look at it now, though, is I don't fear that because I'm like, well, that was a point in time. Yeah, I did that. I did whatever I did. Yep.
Shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's just how if it was a bad audition, hey, I'm fallible, man. That was a terrible audition. I'll be the first one to call out a bad audition any day of the week, right?
And at the end of the day, I agreed to do this.
Yeah,
no one's forcing me to do this audition.
Exactly. Like let's say you became a massive superstar, and then everyone's going to try and find, that guy did an audition. Let's dig it up and put it online. It's like, so be it. It's like, that's the steps it takes to get to where you need to get.
Yeah, like, guess what? I'll do this next week on a film anyway. Like, I'll embarrass myself to a different point. Like, it's all just...
Exactly.
And that's it with acting. I suppose with the same extent in comedy and musician and music. Yeah, you're really putting yourself out there. And if you're not taking chances, it gets a bit stale.
And that's the thing. With comedy, I loved taking chances. That's kind of what I really got off on most. Because I definitely wasn't for everyone. So I had definitely a lot of misses, but when the hits hit, they hit really big because that's what I found was I went, okay, who am I playing to? I'm playing to whoever digs this, essentially.
Yeah.
The other people, I think, are going to really hate it.
Yep.
And I've had that, definitely, but I've had the people who love it just love it. So you get this massive extreme, and that's what I was shooting for. Give me a massive extreme.
That is it. There's nothing worse. I always say this. Nothing worse than a 2.5 star review.
Exactly.
Give me 1 or give me 5.
Yeah.
I mean, preferably 5.
Yeah, preferably 5.
Actually, please just give me 5.
Any day. Yeah. So. But you want that because it's real emotion there.
Yeah.
You know? And I just went for the belly laughs rather than... you can write a clever joke, you can do a good punchline, and you can go, that was amusing.
Yeah.
But I think it's like if it doesn't make you genuinely keel over, that's what I aim for. I aim for that, and that's what I want in a laugh. You know, if I'm laughing at something, that's what I go for.
Nothing brings me more joy than making a noise I didn't know I could make.
Yes.
Whilst I'm laughing at something like, because I'm a bit more like that with the kind of comedy I like. I like you're a bit more out there kind of guy. So like, just like the different style rather than your, I suppose what you classic Jerry Seinfelds or whatever.
Which everyone has their place, and I also love the Seinfeld. I love people commenting on everyday things because often I go, oh man, you've looked at that in a really good way. But what I laugh most at are things that are normally not even punchlines. You've just found the gag in there yourself. And when you find the gag yourself, and this really happens through delivery of something. So it's whoever's the performer delivering stuff. This is why I love characters, right? Because characters, it's not about a punchline, it's about how they deliver what they do.
Yeah.
Like, Alan Partridge, amazing, right? And just
my God.
He's definitely my favourite character, without a doubt. But then you got things like Jiminy Glick, like Martin Short's character. Like, I find that just makes me howl. It's so funny.
And the characters have such a longevity to them as well, because people are like, this is like, I want to see more. Alan Partridge has been around for 20 years.
Yeah, at least.
In every medium. Like, TV, theatre, audiobooks, film. I think maybe even a radio show as well, which is what he's parodying anyway.
That's what he's parodying. Yeah.
So it's just like, it's worked so much, and it comes back in every reincarnation. So it's like, of course people love this, and they're going to keep wanting. And Steve Coogan, comedy genius as well, obviously. But I love seeing characters on stage, and I feel like they're making a bit of a comeback, especially in Melbourne just now.
I think it's funny how everything is, everything's cyclical, of course, but it's like, I think now we've had very kind of at least in Melbourne and maybe Australia, it's definitely the bit wacky, a bit out there sort of stuff, which I guess was character based too, but it's coming to a different bit of character, I think.
Yeah.
Like the Auntie Donna Boys, that's where they've really excelled in the last 5 years or whatever.
Massively, as well.
Because they're kind of wacky and off the wall and all that kind of stuff.
And I think there wasn't a mass amount of that in Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, you had some of your other character stuff.
There was like a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think it was more kind of heartfelt stuff. Like Nanette was a classic example.
Yeah, of course.
There was a lot of that kind of raw emotion mixed with, the funny, but we wanted a bit of pathos there as well.
Yeah.
Whereas now I think that's now not the case. I don't think many people are looking to aim for that anymore.
I think it's always funny. A friend of the show, Gary Starr, but Damien Power, he says Britain's always been a bit more wacky, and I think it's to do with how people are feeling day to day. Like, Melbourne's always been a very easy place to live, so people are wanting to feel a little bit more from that. But then with the increase in cost of living, and in fact, there's a lot of horrible stuff going on just now. You kind of want the escapism of just nonsense, really.
Right? No, and I think you nailed it, because that's essentially what I was trying to give when I was doing stand-up was I want to bring you into this world which is not your world.
Yeah.
I want you to come into it. So that's where you get the love and hate, because some people don't want to do that. And that's absolutely fine. But well, I think when there's more stress in people's lives, they absolutely want to escape.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you said, when everything's calm and normal, they just want their own life reflected back at them in a funny way.
And they feel better about it as well, because you're like, okay, people are talking about this as important matters. Whereas if you're bombarded by that every single day, you're like, I just want someone to make me laugh. Like, please, I just can't think about this anymore.
Exactly.
So, I think it is making a bit of a comeback, which
I think
I'm
so too.
all for. I love that kind of stuff.
Me too. Give me more characters. I want them.
Yes.
But I've literally stepped away from the stand-up a lot. So I still do a couple of gigs here and there just to keep the feet wet, because it is fun. Like, I love it. But, music, just because I've always had music in there anyway, because I was parodying the Vegas Performer.
Yeah.
So, there's got to be a show tune in there somewhere or something.
Which, again, that stuff's kind of timeless as well, in the respect that it's like, it's been around since, I don't know, 40s, 50s or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Vaudeville
30s.
stuff. Very vaudevillian type shit. And then, but so I love, I just love singing though. And I love playing guitar too, but I love singing so much. I went, let's just
really
give it a go. Let's maybe make that the thing to pursue a bit more.
Fuck yeah.
And so now I'm doing it. And now, this is the 5th album under Oliver Clark. And weird where you go, man, this is good. I think I've got an okay body of work now that I can. I hate using the word proud, because I'm not earnest in any way, but I kind of go, I'm happy with that. I'm a bit proud of that. That's good.
I think that's every performer has such a, I don't know, mental block of being proud of their own work.
Yeah.
I forever spruik other people's work. I'm like, I love that.
Yeah.
And when people are like, I saw that and I liked it, and I was like, well, the lighting wasn't right. I didn't get this right in this. And
yeah, you know what it is? Because it's you got to be a salesman, right?
Yeah, that's true, huh?
Easy to sell someone else's stuff.
Yeah, for sure, hey?
And I don't think performers in general are good salesmen.
Self-salesman for sure, yeah.
I was listening to George Wallace talk. George Wallace, comedian? He's in the States.
No.
Weirdly, this ties to Vegas as well.
Oh, there we go. It's a Vegas-only podcast.
And the weird thing is, he actually he was in Melbourne last week, and he dropped into my mate's comedy club, went to buy a ticket, and he goes, hey, I'm George, I'm a comedian too. Anyway, ended up getting up and having a show. But his thing is, he's the new Mr. Vegas. That's on his billboards, right?
Oh, wow.
But I heard him talking on a podcast, and he literally is just a really good salesman.
Yeah.
Like he says when he's got a show on, because he's producing it all, so there's a lot of marketing costs and everything. I guess he just feels personally responsible. He would go to every sort of hotel's concierge people, shake their hand and greet them. Hey guys, I got this show up there. Let people know. Yeah. If they come and ask what to do tonight, let them know. Here's a couple of free tickets for yourself. And so he would like press the flesh around town personally,
like actually
and just
putting
sell
in
and do the hard sell. I'm like, that's admirable. But there's not many people, I think, that seem to do that.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's kind of old school as well, to be
Very
honest.
old school.
I don't know, have you ever done Edinburgh Fringe before?
No.
That
scares the shit out of me.
Oh, terrifying stuff. Again, I've said this before, but I come from the absolute privilege of having lived in Edinburgh and performing in the Fringe, opposed to spending thousands of dollars to go there just to lose money.
Just to lose money.
Yeah. So, but like, you need to go out every day and you fly and you talk to people and you have the weirdest interactions with the strangest human beings as well. But you're like, I kind of need to fill this show, and like everyone's here spruiking their work.
I guess if everyone's... That's the thing when I thought about that, because I thought, man, if I go over... Because I was thinking about it. Like, do I go over? I'm going to have to spruik on the streets every day. I know I don't enjoy that much. But I do enjoy a good chat. So, but it's more the selling bit I don't like.
Yep.
So I'm learning how to sell a bit better.
Yeah.
But Edinburgh, because everyone's doing it, I feel like that would be a bit easier for me.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, you're not flying on the street of Melbourne just by yourself.
No. Because Comedy Festival time, flying down to the town hall, that was hard.
It was, and it's kind of died a bit as well, to be honest.
I don't
since COVID, certainly.
Yeah, I don't think the flyering seems to work. But also, like, you're flying like an hour and a half before your show.
Yeah.
Do you know how much rejection you get when you flyer?
I know, right?
Imagine then having to get up on stage after having that much rejection. Like, it's an emotional roller coaster.
To see nobody that you've given flyers to.
It is good when you do say no.
It is.
That's real nice.
If they come in and then reach out to you afterwards or stay behind and like, I actually like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, this has made my whole festival. Thank you so much.
Little wins like that are amazing.
They're massive as well.
And they keep you going.
That's what you need. Those little wins.
Because festivals, they're just hard work, right?
Oh, for sure.
Not everything's... I mean, people do day jobs that are really hard work. everything's hard, but
Yeah.
doing a show for that many nights, I think it's just because performing is really, really emotional, and
Yep.
I'm sure everyone who performs knows that.
Yeah.
Anyone who doesn't perform probably doesn't maybe understand. Like, it seems, oh, come on, just grow a pair and get on with it. Yeah, it's kind of fair, but it kind of your emotions are. There's rejection, but there's also ego boost too.
Yeah.
And so you can be high one night and then the next night your show is shit, and then you're crashing down. There's this massive extreme.
And the thing is that you're only remembering that bad show as well.
Yeah, you remember those so much more.
Yeah, I know, right? When you're like, maybe it is the audience that just wasn't right that night, because you're like, it's the same show each night. It's like,
true,
but maybe it was right the night before. But then little things go wrong, and sometimes the energy you feed off that a bit.
You do feed off that energy.
It's tough. Like, it's real rough.
I should also say, just as a spruiking thing, but I do a show, and I did it last night. It's at Spleen Bar.
Oh, awesome!
Top end of Burke Street in Melbourne. It's a dive bar, but I do a show every week. I'm now in my 47. I know by this time I think I've done my 50th week.
Holy shit!
I've got like the blurb is bringing a touch of Vegas to Spleen every week.
Oh wow!
Every Wednesday at 11 p.m. That's the time slot I'm doing.
Wow.
So it's like I sing my show for an hour.
Yeah.
If there's more people who want more, I'll often go over by half an hour or whatever. But it'll be an hour at least, and I'm chatting, I'm padding, but I'm singing my original songs to an audience every week, and I cannot get enough of it.
And it's so funny. You say Spleen's a dive bar, but like they host comedy nights in there. Yeah. They do live music. I'm like, I'd much rather go there to the a majority of the bars in the city for sure. Yeah. But like that place is pumping. It's some pumping, nights.
Yeah, because I did comedy there for years.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think I've had a connection with that place for over 15 years. I'm sure. But they were keen to have this show. And it's so funny because it's 11 p.m. We started at 8 and no one was there. And the manager was like, how about we try 11? Because, this place doesn't kick off till 12. And I was like, that's true. And it's a hospo bar. A lot of really hospo people after working go there. So we started at 11 and it just did well. So I'm like,
so funny.
So it's so funny.
Yeah.
And the crowds are just so mixed.
Yeah.
But they're amazing. It's so weird that it seems to work.
And again, it's that specific kind of bar as well. Because like most of the time in the city, on a Wednesday night especially, nowhere's really open that late unless you're going to a nightclub, and nobody wants to do that. Yeah. But you're like, well, this is open and we'll check it out. And you're like,
well, that seems to be what they do, because I can see the entrance of the bar and I can see people walking by. Yeah. And I can see them stop and look in, and I'm just going, oh, you got to come in. Yeah. I would say it's probably almost a 50-50 hit rate of people stopping, looking, and then coming in.
Well, because you can see directly onto the stage from outside.
And people are like, what the fuck is that? And then it is the most bizarre thing, I'm sure, for people to see on a Wednesday at 11 or plus. Yeah. Seeing this guy in a suit singing songs,
and dapper outfit as well.
And I'm moving, man. I'm dancing. By the end of the show, I'm drenched. It's like, because I just do the show for myself. I love it. Like, I'm just singing my own tunes, and I love it, and I just give it my all, regardless of who's there. Yeah, and that's what seems to be the feedback I get from people, is they're like, man, you're going for it.
And that's what's bringing people off the street.
And that's what's bringing people in. So it's kind of great. But Spleen is a great bar, and they're very encouraging with that kind of stuff. Yeah,
they're great with that kind of stuff.
But thanks for letting me get that plug in.
No, please, plug away. That's what this podcast is for. I want to actually touch on the suits a little bit as well. So are they all custom made? Are they like...
Oh, originally, no.
No?
But now... Yes and no. It depends. Black is easy to find.
Yeah, that's
a black suit does not need to be custom made because it's easy to find.
Blue velveteen suit,
but the blue velvet suit. Yeah, I think the first one I had was like, because there is a difference between the velveteen and velvet.
Oh, is there? Oh,
yeah, I think the velveteen's got a lot of that plastic in it. Velvet. Okay. If you get the good stuff, it's like just pure cotton.
Yes.
Weirdly, I was like, okay, it's time to suit up.
Yeah.
Properly. So I found a tailor in Bridge Road. He was a great dude.
Oh, wonderful.
But he didn't have the blue I wanted. So I had to source out my own blue. And I found a place in Hawthorne that had it. So I just bought whatever, a couple of meters, few meters of that. This German velvet, Anyway, they made a couple of jackets for me. pants and waistcoat, and then but I wear a black one as well. I used to use the blue as a suit, like as a costume almost,
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time people go, "Oh, that guy in the blue suit was great." You wouldn't know your name; they just know the suit. So I was like, and all my heroes wore costumes. Elvis, Steve Martin,
of course,
they're all wearing a thing that is recognisable to them.
Yeah.
But now I like the idea of being able to wear whatever I want. So
that's also nice as well, because I could only imagine. Cleaning those things might be a fucking nightmare.
If you're sweating them every week, it gets a bit gross if you don't. So
because you can't just chuck them in the washing machine afterwards as well.
No. Yeah, the dry cleaning bill's huge.
Yeah, especially if you have to travel with them as well.
Yeah,
like you're performing at night time, presumably chucking them back in the suitcase again, traveling with them.
Yeah.
They're not the freshest after having lived in a suitcase for a little bit.
No,
so,
not at all.
But I mean, again, that's performing as well. Like so many
performing,
cabaret and burlesque artists are exactly the same. Admittedly, they have less on them.
I don't know. Sometimes they have more though, right? I mean, you got all makeup. It starts off head costumes. And
starts off more a lot of the time, but then
then it comes.
But again, like that stuff. We've had a few burlesque artists on here as well, and they're like. Yeah, that stuff just stinks. There's no way around it.
There's no way around it. Yeah, look, I'll be honest. The spleen show, I don't clean it every week.
Yeah,
so it might be and by the end of one show, like even last night, I went, "Oh, mama."
But also in keeping with spleen a little bit. I love spleen.
It's true. You might not necessarily notice.
Yeah, you're like, is this the bar or the performer?
Or the performer,
or both?
It's a mixture of 20 years of performer and bar.
Yeah, and the bar has I love spleen. Yeah, but like that bar has seen some times.
Oh man, I've had some times there. It's been wild.
And again, a hospitality bar, like where hospital workers go to afterwards.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna have the occasional vomit. You're gonna have the occasional spilled drink. They have a kitchen in there as well. You're gonna have the occasional spilled food.
Yeah,
and it just seeps its way into the.
It does seep its way
there. Yeah. And again, this is no disrespect to Spleen. I love you, but
they're the best, man. Yeah. I love those guys, and that's and the bar staff there are just so nice. They're just
sure,
so friendly, and the manager Joel, he's amazing.
Yeah,
but back to the suits though. I recently got a new one by a Melbourne designer called Rainer Clothing.
Oh, awesome,
dude. Yeah, I've worn it once on stage, but. For the album launch, I'll be doing I'd like to do a costume change, so I'll do a costume change and get changed into this Rainer one, which is just great.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a different kind of vibe, but it's still great, and it is blue. Weirdly enough.
The guy in the blue suit.
The blue suit. The guy in the blue suit.
It'd be weird if people went to that and they're like, I don't know who that guy was. The guy in the blue suit, though, he was fantastic. You came to this album launch. What? They just stumbled in off the street. They were walking by and they're like, I love what that guy's doing up there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this album cover as well, I went, because all my other album covers had the blue suit. I'm like, do I do another one? And I went with black this time.
Yes, I did. I
went with black. I went, you know
Still
what?
very eye-catching, but
got the ruffles, got the, it's just, man,
but like they're beautiful looking things, and not too many performers in suits nowadays. Not too many performers
in suits. That's true.
Yeah,
it's funny, and I talk about this on stage. It's like I'm either like us today. We are in shorts and t-shirt, and it was good to see you wearing bare feet. Because give me shorts, t-shirt any day of the week.
Me too.
Or the other end of the spectrum. Absolute class it up. I just can't do the in the middle.
Yeah,
if there's an invite or something to something and it says smart casual,
right. So no chinos and a shirt.
Well, that's the real C word right there.
Oh dear.
Right. It's gross. I can't.
I can bleep it out if you want on this podcast as well. I'm happy to do that.
Look, I own a pair, but God, I do not want to have to wear them.
I own them, but a lot of the time, and we have spoken about this before as well, TV commercials will just let you keep the costume sometimes. So I've just taken them home from a TV commercial before.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah,
that's really nice when you get to keep a costume.
I know, I love it as well. And it's one of those things as well, because it's like, I'd never buy this necessarily, but I get to dress up sometimes. And this is like dressing up nowhere near as nice as what you have dressed up in all of your suits. No, but I mean like a pair of chinos compared to these beautiful velvet suits. Yeah, true. But I get to, you put it on and you feel like a different person and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Well, I think that's what the benefit of putting on a uniform is. You feel the thing you're about to do.
That's it, isn't it?
And when I put that on, I'm like, all right, I'm an entertainer now. Let's go.
Showtime, yes.
It's showtime, baby.
Having like come from a bit of an acting background for yourself as well, do you like dressing up in the different costumes and stuff?
Oh, yeah, I love it. Once again, it's that character thing. I just like, I like, give me some big characters and I'm happy to do them.
Hello. Now, before we get into our next story, I've got to tell you the main reason why I'm able to fumble through my awkward and embarrassing day-to-day occasions. Coffee. Now, fortunately for myself and all of the listeners, we have paired with one of Melbourne's best coffee companies, Coffee on Q, a coffee worth talking about. Get ready to caffeinate yourself through your next awkward moment with Coffee on Q's signature Elevate blend. Crafted in-house with precision, each sip delivers delightful flavour notes of strawberry, chocolate and marmalade. And here's the deal you won't want to miss. Coffee on Q is offering an exclusive discount to all our listeners. Simply use the code WBFT15 at checkout to enjoy an incredible 15% off all coffee purchases. That's right, WBFT15 is a key to savings, making sure you're properly awake to remember your next big embarrassing moment. Now, this code is valid for all coffee products, so make sure you stock up on your favourites. And the best part? You can use the code WBFT15 as many times as you like. So don't miss out on the opportunity to enjoy the finest coffee Melbourne has to offer. Simply visit Coffee on Q, and that's QCUE.com.au, and enter the discount code WBFT15 at checkout to unlock 15% off your next coffee order. That's WBFT15 at coffeeonq.com.au. Coffee on Q, where awkward moments pair perfectly with your daily cup. Would you find yourself getting asked to audition for the most, like your typecast nowadays?
Yeah, what is that? I get, there's not many that's come through lately, but a lot of the time I got the TV game show host.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen. It's all that kind of
Do you think it's like it's the sideburns and
sideburns,
the pizzazz?
Yeah. The clean cut, and the pizzazz. And maybe they've seen the stage stuff
yes.
I do. I do get a bit from sort of people having seen that and looking on the Insta and all that kind of stuff, which is good. But now I'm getting, dad roles, I guess.
I'm exclusively dad.
I imagine you would be.
Dad and cop. They're my two big things.
Yes, cop.
Yeah, all the time.
Did you, and I don't know, but did you audition for The Tourist by any chance?
I didn't know. I don't think they want anything that looks slightly similar to Jamie Dornan.
Well, no, that's what I mean.
I was like, I could be on there as his long-lost brother.
No, I was assuming for the title role, though.
Oh, no.
I imagine they wrote it for him, right?
They did.
Yeah,
they did. They weren't auditioning people for that part. Because I knew a few people on the show, and he was offer only. It was for Jamie Dornan.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Man, imagine being in that position.
Oh, I know. Oh, please. Even if it shows I don't want to do it, it's like, yeah, if you've given me an offer only, absolutely. You've written this show for me. I mean, even if it's not great, I'm happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Yeah. Happy to get the work. Because,
Yeah. And it's always funny as well, because it's like, they've got your massive stars like that, but if it is a Jamie Dornan in it, I'm like, well, they're not going to get somebody that sounds similar and looks similar to him in that TV show.
That is true.
I'm written off for The Tourist.
You are written off for The Tourist.
Yeah. As great a TV show as it was as well. Like
Larson was spot on.
Yeah, right.
Greg
Real
Larson
good stuff. But no, unfortunately I didn't get any calls up for The Tourist.
What is your go-to show at the moment? Or in the past that you kind of go, this is really bad TV.
Bad TV.
But I can't get enough of it.
See, I'm on and off with a lot of different things, and I feel bad saying, like, I'm watching this because it's bad, because I know how hard it is to make something.
Yeah, no. You know what I mean, though. It's like, it's not... They're not making it knowing it's going to be Golden Globe, Oscar worthy,
Well, the absolute irony is I'm going to say something now which just won an Emmy.
Oh, Jesus.
But no, it's a comedy show. I don't know if you know it. It's on Netflix, 3 seasons. I Think You Should Leave. Yeah, Tim Robinson.
It's great.
That is my popcorn show. Like, I will put that on.
But I'd say that's good.
I know, that's the thing.
I don't think that's bad at all.
Yeah, but I've shown it to so many people, and they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's not for you. I need to find some people to watch it with, though, because I'm like, this is the best, and I'll quote it. And people are like, I don't get... Well, he's driving a hot dog van? Well, he's wearing a weird shirt. And it's like... So it's very dependent on who I tell it to. They're like, no, that's awful.
Yeah. It's like, I find there's a lot of that reaction with Curb Your Enthusiasm as well.
Yes.
Like, people either really hate it or they love it. Once again, I love that because there's that divide. But,
and it's the same with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I find. It's just horrible people arguing with each other. And
that's
the appeal, though.
Oh, see, that's what, I didn't get on board.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I feel bad, but it's like, there was a lot of yelling.
Yeah, I think that's
which I couldn't get on board.
A lot of people are they shut off at
But
that.
I like... the actors in it. I like what they do, even in movies outside of that and all that kind of other stuff.
And they've gone on to do massive things as well now.
Danny DeVito, for instance.
Yeah, no. He was so
really
small
before
out.
that.
He's still really small now, like 4'10" or something. I don't think that's helped. That was the worst joke I've ever told as well.
I love it.
Thank you so much, Oliver.
But if I was getting... my show, just to quickly get it out there. Because this is really just an excuse to talk about NCIS Hawaii.
Okay, so I've watched parts of NCIS Hawaii. Have you watched NCIS Sydney?
Yes.
Okay, what are the thoughts? Again, I'm so biased for when my friends get work on things. I'm so happy and again proud of you for getting on here. And sometimes I know what the paychecks are. So I'm like, good on you. I had a few friends that worked in NCIS Sydney, and I'm like, I'm so happy you got that. Because again, most of the time, and I'm including myself here, I get predominantly work on American shows in Australia.
Right.
Because they just pay more and they're bigger and they're like, they have a bit more stuff. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And like, I think it's honestly like half and half just now, especially with the stunt work as well.
That's crazy. That's so good. Because there's a lot of things shooting at the moment. I heard game shows are shooting here. American game shows.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
That's just what I heard. I could be wrong. But
American TV commercials seem to be coming over here quite a bit recently. Okay. Yeah, which is so funny because like...
That's great.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah. Well, the paycheck would be...
Pay so much more. Yeah. And then they only play in America.
Even better.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I suppose like this will lead me on to my next question as well. With the TV commercial auditions as well, I don't know if you've come in with any stories about them, but they're always a source of my downfall. And I'll tell a quick story to you.
Let me hear.
Because I always want to make sure I'm in the same boat as all of my
I was going to ask you, but I just
Yes.
assumed you'd exhausted all of them already.
Well, that's the thing I have, but they just keep happening, Oliver. I can't stop. I thought it'd stop. But I mean, again, it's a good source for this podcast, but I want to be a better, like less embarrassing person.
Nah.
And I auditioned. So again, before the podcast, I can't even say a podcast.
But see, I say podcast.
Yeah, okay.
You're coming in with your accent with a cast.
I know, cast.
Cast.
Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I sit on this here podcast. But yes.
Wait, I think Foghorn Leghorn is cancelled, isn't he?
Oh shit! Well, that wasn't Foghorn. That was the Colonel from the KFC.
That's
Unless he's
Colonel.
awful as well. I don't know.
It's just a deep Southern accent.
Yeah, deep Southern accent. It's from somebody that's not cancelled. But we were talking before we started recording, saying that like you go out for so many things in TV commercials, and then they just like they change their mind. Or you're like, I'm auditioning for something. I did one recently for an American commercial, which I auditioned for a female role in it, and I was like, you have exclusively asked for a female. And what I had to do was smell a woman's armpit. And as a female to a female, less predatory. As a 6 foot bearded man with not the kindest face all the time, I'd say. Quite a stern look. Very predatory.
Yeah.
So I did the audition. Funnily enough, didn't get it. But I was just like, I've wasted so much time and effort just doing this. And
that's the thing, isn't it? Have you ever added up the amount of time you've spent?
I think I would genuinely quit the industry.
Yeah, you just can't think about it. Because I kind of did a vague one in my head over the last 2 years and I went, oh, wow. That's a lot of time.
And it is. And again, like what we were saying before the podcast started recording, it's all self-tapes now. So not only are you filming it yourself, you have to find a reader as well. Our poor partners or your friends are constantly doing it. You have to edit it and send it away and then type in all your measurements and it's so much work.
So much work. Yeah. It takes a chunk out of your day.
It really does. It really does.
I wouldn't say half a day, but it's definitely close to.
Yeah, and sometimes the turnarounds are so short as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's whereas if you go into an audition and the casting agencies do it, but then you got the pressure of having to get it right.
Yeah.
Right then. That's the benefit of doing the at-home ones.
That's
you can
true.
do as many takes as you want.
500 takes, yeah.
But that's what sometimes I do. It's crazy.
I'm the same, and I'm like,
if it's wordy,
if it's
really wordy.
Oh, for sure. Or if it's like a lot of the time for people that maybe aren't in the industry as well, sometimes they have like really specific actions. You're looking at this goat in a field and then a cow starts talking to you from another field and you're surprised and you look over there and then you say this line and you go back to the goat and the goat starts talking to you and you're like a million different things and guess what? You're just doing it to a wall in your room.
That's it. But and when you're reading that, when you're reading action on a bit of paper, you're looking at a goat, to try and get the sequence of things takes me normally about 10 goes. And then I'm like, oh, that's when I do it. That's when I do it. That word comes after that action, and then you get into the rhythm of it. But I just press record on the first one. You never know. You might hit it, and then normally I cancel that, and then about 10 in, I'm like, oh, here we go.
A lot of the time I go for the first one or the last one. And then all the ones in the middle, I'm like, I've fucked this beyond all belief.
I know the first one I get, like I've done well, that's normally the best one. Yeah. And then the others are just when they need more examples.
Yeah, right.
Different versions, you just...
Always a different version, isn't it? Yeah. But do you find that you've ever, or it's not even necessary TV commercial editions, just editions in general, do you find that you've found yourself in any really weird spots with them, or has it always been a pretty good experience?
Yeah, there's not one that comes to mind in
that
terms...
is genuinely impressive, honestly. Like,
I always leave knowing how it went. You know, like you always leave going either I nailed that, I did the best I could actually do on that, or you leave going, oh, that didn't feel good.
But sometimes they like that, and they're the ones you book. Yeah, and I'm like, why are you booking me? I did a terrible job. It's weird
when you get a callback and you go, I didn't think I was going to get that. Yeah, but
again, sometimes it's just how you look.
It's how you look. Oh my God, but it's just such a cattle call. That's how I treat them. And I think now with like at-home tapes, they can spread the net wider. So you're actually in a pool of more people, I think. I'm guessing that they go, well...
I've had a couple of casting directors on here, and they say that like they don't ask everyone, but they will throw a large net. Yes, obviously. Yeah. But at the same time, those poor people like have to sit and watch a million tapes. I
guess the more you send it out, to, the more time you got to watch tapes.
And it's usually the casting assistant that has to go through it as well. But also those poor casting assistants who are most of the time out of work actors themselves.
That's right. Yeah.
Who are just like skim. This person has not read the brief whatsoever. This person's recording it in their car for some reason. Yep. Okay. This person's out of focus.
It's always funny when you see like someone in the agencies who are then on an ad. You go,
yes.
Hang on, they just auditioned me for something. It seems a bit biased.
This is interesting.
They just cast themselves.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, but.
Hey man,
if I could,
I
would.
Whatever you could.
Yeah, I know.
Do whatever you can.
Whatever gets your foot up in the industry.
Yeah.
But that's impressive. Like, I'm happy to hear that the auditions.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's one where I just would shiver at the thought of. But once again, maybe I've literally just put that aside.
You know what, Oliver? It happens 9 times out of 10. I'll get a message from people after they've gone home, and they'll be like, "This story, I can't remember. I forgot. Here it is." And it's just a story that I get to enjoy sometimes, and I love that as well.
Great,
I do enjoy that. But yeah, the acting stuff is, I mean, it's mostly for where we are as well. It's mostly auditions rather than actually being on sets.
But so the other story I had was actually on set. So
beautiful,
it was kind of a first proper acting job I got.
Oh, nice.
And it was on It's a Date. It was a Peter Hellier
thing
on ABC. He co-wrote this.
When are we talking? How long ago was that?
Well, I saw Pete over a month ago, and because I really didn't know him anyway, but I saw him and he goes, "Oh yeah, you're on my show." I was like, "Yeah," and he said something like it was 12 years ago or something. I was like,
"Wow,
no!" It was some ridiculous amount of time. Anyway, but I went, "Oh yeah, that was kind of like the first real acting." I'd done a commercial, I think, before that, maybe 2, but this was the proper acting where I got to play a restaurant owner.
Oh, nice.
And it was like a little guest spot. So I had quite a bit of dialogue there, which was great. So the show was called It's a Date. So it was 2 people on a date. One of them was Justine Clark, who's an Australian staple. Yeah. She's been around for ages. And, you know, I watched her growing up and probably had the hots for her as well.
Isn't that funny when you see people who go, "You're off the telly"?
And so suddenly I'm
on the telly. Oh, God.
I'm in a scene with them.
Yeah.
And because it's the first thing, I wasn't really sure on how a set operates, like how that rhythm goes.
It is such, and I always suggest this for people starting out, do some extras work. Because there's no pressure on you there. And you get to see what is going on. It is crazy what a set is like.
And I know they're all different. And now I know that. Yep. So that's cool. But I don't necessarily think this was the best thing, the best experience for me to have gone into on first. Right. Because I know in my head I was freaking out about the lines. I had to explain these dishes, which were so, you know, I was a wanker restaurant owner who had to, you know, beef up his dishes with complex wording. So I had to remember this. And I was like, I was freaking out. I had Justine Clark there, good actors who knew how to act and doing their thing. And then I'm there and I'm like, doing it, and I fucked it up quite a few times.
It was all specific, like, jargon as well, so you can't
jargon.
You can't find your way around it. Like, it's these specific. I'm always the same. I've played a doctor once before, and I was like, I can't just make this up. Like, this is specific stuff.
People have researched the right thing to say, and you have to get it spot on.
And then if you have like a restaurant owner or a chef watching it, he's just talking gibberish. Like, what is this?
Yeah, which I think was half the joke anyway. So it's kind of okay, but they would have wanted it word for word kind of thing. But yeah, there was no kind of. I was get on set.
Yep.
Okay, get your positions, now go. There was no real sort of. There's a little bit of blocking where they'll position you and go, okay, we're shooting it here, here. But they kind of already had it down, and so I had to kind of just go. And I was like, oh my god,
isn't it amazing? Because I thought this before a lot of TV shows. Do you get like a rehearsal day or something?
Yeah.
You're like, no, we're just like shooting this, and especially. I love the ABC, but notoriously underfunded, so they were shooting on a very tight schedule.
Well, I think that's kind of what was going on, I'm sure. So there's always reasons.
Yeah, so sometimes you don't even have time to rehearse it in the space.
Yeah.
And you're a restaurant manager, so you should know that space back to front.
Yes.
And it's like, how am I meant to feel comfortable in here? And I'm acting against Australian legends that I've grown up watching.
Exactly. Man, but I was lucky because, I was doing this, and then I'd walk off after the take, while the scene kept going.
Yeah.
And this producer was there, and I was like, I don't know how that went. She goes, no, you did great. And she was just really kind of beefing me up. And weirdly, that now turns out to be Nick Cody's wife.
Oh, wow.
Lucia, who's she's the most loveliest person. And I emceed their wedding, weirdly enough.
Oh,
so
no
it
way.
was like, oh, this is nice. So, but she was so lovely and definitely got me through that in terms of like me not freaking out about how bad I was doing,
Well, that's the thing, because you do see it, and I think it's more old school, especially directors sometimes. They're like, what were you doing? That was shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that's not going to help me, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
Right, because it's kind of like, and then I did a... Wayne Hope, who was in The Castle.
Oh.
The blonde guy, the young blonde guy.
Oh, yeah,
he's obviously a lot older now, but he directs a lot of stuff, and he was doing this Hamish and Andy show called True Stories or True Story. So I had a little guest spot on there, which was great. So he was a director of my one, because I had different directors for each show.
Yeah, and it's like a dramatization of a true
story.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was playing this really arrogant trumpet player. Sweet role. Like, it was a nice big character I could be over the top with.
Awesome.
But Wayne Hope was I was like, oh, so you can be a different type of director. And he was just like... He got us in, and we talked about it first. And he goes, do you have any questions? I went, no, not really. He goes, well, if you do.
Yeah.
And he goes, and then when we get on set, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have a run-through, a read-through. If there's any questions, it's like, oh, my God, this is like...
Well, I think
isn't this how it should be?
If somebody's come from an acting background, they know what you're going through as well.
Yeah.
So, like, they're like... This guy might be terrified.
Yeah.
Or he might just want a heads up of what's actually happening as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's nice when people have that
It was really nice.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable doing that.
Yes.
I get that it takes more time.
Oh, for sure.
And
it's tough as well. Like, I get things are on a budget and you're just having to fire through things some days as well. But
And you get stressed. Everyone gets stressed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But it's also nice when, like, those little gems of people that are just like... No, it was like, that was good. Yeah, we'll do it again. And you're like, oh, okay, thank you. You've relaxed me. Opposed to if you go over and, like, if you've maybe ran into a grip or something, you're like, oh, that was so shit. And they're like, yeah. And you're like, no.
Because sometimes that can happen.
Yeah, right.
Or they're not even paying attention.
No.
Sometimes, like, if I'm on a set, I just assume... The crew hate actors.
I'm the same as well, and I like having
and rightfully so.
Yeah. Oh, I'm. Like,
it's like
I'm in a funny both sides of it just now because I'm an actor as well, so I do not enough acting work. I do a lot of acting work.
Yeah.
But then I've really been starting doing a lot of stunt work recently as well in the past few years. But stunts is primarily counted as crew.
Crew, right.
So we sit with the crew in lunchtime, like we're behind the camera a lot as well. So it's like you hear both sides of it now. It's really weird, and like the number of people that complain about actors, and I'm like, oh man, that's fair enough, honestly.
It's completely fair enough.
Yeah.
But crew, great. I love them, man. They're just like you just chat. I mean, you just chat.
Sometimes, like, if you're sitting in a makeup truck at like 5 a.m. in the morning, I love hearing that gossip. Give me that all day.
Makeup chair gossip. you think it's not real, but then you're in there and you're like, oh, it's a thing.
It gives me mild anxiety that maybe I'm being spoken about one day.
Oh, I assume I would.
But but at the same time, I'm like, oh, good, someone else is enjoying this now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the circle of life.
Yeah, for sure. I remember there's some makeup artists that worked on Kinney Tonight, which was a sketch show. I did a few seasons of that, which was nice, just in the cast, which was great.
Awesome.
But the makeup department was so good. They were just the best. But I relished telling them stories. It was just fun, you know.
I know, right? And you feel like you're sitting there and you're like, oh, it's so giddy. I'm so excited for this. And then you get into the stage and you're like, oh, this is the part I should be. Sorry, I should be excited about acting and being on a TV show, not sitting in a chair and like getting the makeup on. It's not even the interesting part. It's just having a little gab.
It is. It's interesting with the acting though. Like, do you get excited when you're about to shoot? Is that where the excitement is for you, or is it after you've completed it and you get that high of just doing a good job?
I think again, like kind of what you were saying before, it's super dependent on the set, and it's very dependent sometimes on the content.
Yeah.
So like I've done quite a lot of drama as well, and some days I'm like, I'm just looking forward to seing how this turns out, because it's going to be a real rough, emotional day, crying all day, or you're out. Wow.
Can you cry on cue?
Yes, I'm doing it right now.
I'm so sorry.
I find getting myself into it quite easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've definitely there's been times where I've been on set and I've cried so much I'm like I can't do it anymore. Wow. And then that's when makeup comes to your rescue and you get like little eye drops and stuff like that. But like it's just tiring. Yeah. It's like, and then you're in such a bad headspace, and I'm like, I don't look forward to those days. And then some days as well, because I filmed in Tasmania, a feature last year in the middle of winter. Any exterior shots, I was like, I am not looking forward to this. It was just so cold and windy.
So alone, that was actors.
Yeah. I survived half a day and I was like, get me out of here, get me out. It was, funnily enough, the same time of year they were filming, we were filming. So
I think I know what show that was. Oh, is that how you know Ben Knight?
No, it's not actually. So I was doing a feature. He was filming Bay of Fire, so it's a little bit earlier in the year than me. Yeah, but I was shooting a feature down there, and it was like, it was just
great.
They had it was fantastic. I'm so happy to be in a feature film. But
man,
it was also
that's a dream.
Rain machines and 2 degrees and 80-kilometer-an-hour winds. So those days again, brutal. I'm not looking the most forward to. And again, I sound so privileged complaining about having work, but like it is, those days are a real slog.
Yeah.
But then some days when you get to turn up and like you're working with people that either you know or like are super switched on and they're super fun, and like I get to just play. Yeah, like, I'm just playing.
Isn't that nice?
I love it. I love it so much.
It is so good. And this is the thing, like at the end of a big day, it is that emotional where your brain just starts to melt a bit. It is. And that's the hard bit, I think. Yeah. Like everything else is fine. You get to act, it's really fun. But it is just that. And when they ask for another take or something, and you're like, I can't remember the words. I don't know the words anymore. They're just gone.
Especially if it's 3 pages of dialogue and they're shooting it so much, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I genuinely just might need to sit down for a minute. And you're like, all I've been doing is talking. I do that every day anyway. Yeah. But you just have to be so on, and then you're hitting the same marks as what you had to do for the master shot. And then,
that's right.
Yeah.
Continuity stuff.
Yeah. So some of those days, that's just purely mechanical. Like it's just work. But then other days, you turn up and you have so much fucking fun. And you're like, oh, I'm getting paid to dress up and act like a child.
Yeah. And it's that whole thing. Any working environment, if the people are great, then you normally have a good time.
That's massive as well,
if there's a good team around it, it's great.
And it really does make such a difference as well. And especially sometimes if it's like, if you've just got your 2 people on the crew that you're like, you have so much fun with, or like the makeup artist or the producer, and you're like, oh, I'm genuinely happy to be here. And it's not that I dislike the rest of the crew, but like they're all in their little units as well, and they're
doing their thing. Yeah, and they've worked with each other before, I'm sure, on multiple things.
So many things.
They're in their own little clique, which is absolutely fine. Yeah, but isn't it nice where it's like, because definitely when you're older, and this is a known thing, where it's harder to make friends and all that kind of stuff, but that is as close as you're going to get to school.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Like but it's a short-lived thing, and you're in the weeds together.
It's amazing.
And you build good, big relationships, and you kind of make friends from it, which is unusual, You
make such intense friendships, which can just last for such a short time sometimes as well.
That's true. And they don't have to last for long.
Yeah, exactly. And you turn up and you're like, I don't know about yourself, but I've done like sex scenes and implied nudity scenes and stuff like that with other people.
I've been wanting that
still casting just now.
Yeah.
But like you have such a short, sharp, intense thing with somebody that you've never
short
met
and
before.
Sharp.
Very short and sharp. IMDb if you're listening, long and not sharp. But yeah, like you wouldn't do that with any other job as well.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know this person so well, and then sometimes you just never see them again.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Or you see them like 2 years later and you're instantly back into like, oh my God, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. But you've just kind of never really, either of you have made that much of a, I don't know, effort to stay in touch.
True, but you've probably then seen each other on things you've been doing.
Yeah.
Working on,
That's
or
true.
even just on the socials, so you still kind of know what they're up to.
Yeah, exactly.
So
well, I mean, the socials are great for that.
They're very easy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is nice. But yes, sorry. We'll start bringing the podcast towards a bit of a close, but I know that you said you had a little bit of a corporate story, and then I wanted to hear if you did have any other stories to finish off with as well.
I'll give you the corporate one. So this was for stand-up for Malvern Star. Okay, so I had a connection in there, and she was like, hey, we've got a corporate day out in Baronia, which is Melbourne. I think they had an office or something out there. Maybe even a bike shop, right?
Okay.
And they go, we're going to have these guys on a bus from Baronia to Melbourne, and we thought maybe you might want to do stand-up on there. Here's,
Wait, sorry, on the bus?
On a bus. Right. Now,
oh, no.
And I'm like, just the worst corporate environment you could, or even stand-up environment you could think of.
I don't know anyone that could do that well. Like, that's...
Well, first of all, you're standing up at the front of a bus with no seatbelt on.
Yeah.
And I was like...
you're the first one to die if it crashes.
Yeah. It's like, which everyone was praying for, I'm sure. Oh, but it was like, but I was like, okay, is there like an intercom thing I'm talking through, or am I literally just projecting voice? And I think I was just projecting.
Oh, and so the two staples of stand-up comedy is a stage to perform on and a microphone. That's all you need. I mean, lighting's obviously audience.
It was
helps.
during the day, so it was fine.
Yeah, but so you're just shouting at a bus full of people.
Yeah, and I'm in the blue suit, and I'm in the suit doing this thing.
No.
And it is funny, this podcast, isn't it? Because I'm telling another story of failure, and I just got that in my head. I'm like, fuck it. But that's the point. Anyway, I'm failing. So, failing again at stand-up. And so, it was very funny. And so I just abandoned all my gear.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't going down.
I mean, you kind of have to, right?
I'm just going to chat to these guys one-on-one.
Yeah.
And then started chatting, and this one guy could not look at me in the face. He turned, and I went to chat to him. I go, you right, buddy? And then he turned to his colleague, and he goes, if this guy keeps talking to me, I'm going to punch him in the face. And I
Jesus
went,
Christ!
In a very thick Scottish accent, mind you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's understandable now. This makes a lot of sense. That's not even, that's a term of endearment where I'm from.
Yeah, of course. Great. I took it as such.
But, but I'm always amazed from... corporates are always a very hit and miss thing, obviously. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's obvious, actually, but yeah, they're always like...
It's more like whoever's booking it, they don't quite understand what works in a comedy environment, which is fine. I mean, who are they to know?
Yeah, exactly.
But, then they offer you an amount of money that you go, well, I guess if it's bad, I'm still willing to do it for that money.
You'd be silly to turn it down, essentially.
And this paid... This is very funny. So, anyway, so... 40-minute bus trip. Were
you performing for 40 minutes?
Yeah, I couldn't manage the whole 40. I got to half an hour and went, okay, I think I'm done. That's it. But look, by the end, so they all hopped off at the end, and I just hold my ground always. I don't crumble because that's just part of it. And so, at the end, I just shake everyone's hand on the way out, go, hope you had a great day. Just, real cheesy combo. But, a couple of them just went, dude, well done, man.
That's good.
They were just like, you took a lot. You took a lot of hits on that one, but you held it. It was funny. They loved it. They did love it because they were laughing at the fact it was failing. Well,
again, a laugh's a laugh at the end of the day.
Laugh. I don't care, right?
Can I ask if the Scottish man shook your hand?
I don't. No, I don't. Oh, maybe. I think he had a smirk. He may have had a smirk.
Okay.
So, but the payment for that gig was something like $400 and a new bike.
Oh, okay.
So they paid me in bike.
Choose the bike?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Not as... don't pay in services or like
a bike was fine. I actually needed one. I was
okay,
that's great. Get me a new bike.
Yeah.
So I think all in all, it probably came to about a $1,500 gig.
Okay, that's like again.
That's fine.
The rough thing is with corporates, usually they're not on a bus for any of you beautiful perverts listening. They're generally in.
Sorry, is that the fans? Is that what
that's what I like to call them? It's everybody has their own thing, but it's because I have so many people on here, people that work in the adult entertainment industry,
great
actors who are just talking about their body parts all the time, and I'm like. I'm in that camp as well as being a beautiful pervert. So it's my little name for my fans.
I love it. And do they have merch at all? T-shirt merch?
No, but if anybody wants to get, look, I'm sure I can find that and sell it on. Whether or not you want to wear it is a different thing.
That's going to be the problem, I think.
But yeah, like usually for corporates, it's a lot of the time it's in like a hotel function room. In a footy club, a lot of the time it is as well.
Man, it is. Yeah, those hotel function rooms are gross because it's normally like that dance floor.
Yeah.
And the seating will be beyond the dance floor.
Oh, for sure.
And so you then have to be on the stage with this vacuous dance floor space and everyone about 20 metres away.
And half of the people have their back to you as well.
That's right.
Because it's all on round tables.
Table.
Yeah. But you can escape there. Like you can do your stuff. And if it's not going well, you're like, all right, I'll take the hit. I'll leave. On the bus, did you just go and sit back down?
I did. Yeah. Okay. There is nowhere to go. It's literally like, all right, that's my time. And then I just sat down on the bus and went, and just took a breath because it was hard work. And
did you have your own 2 seats? Did you have to sit down next to someone?
I think I sat down next to the girl that booked me, who I knew.
Okay, not as bad. You're not sitting down next to like the bus driver, just being like,
no. I'm always open about it. If it's a shit gig, I'm like, that was tough,
Well, I mean, you're not going to be like, so that went really well, right?
Yeah, don't pretend.
You didn't
about
see
it.
that, did you?
Just do it. Yeah. And then I think after that, I had I was in a function band, so I actually then had to go and play at a wedding, guitar at a wedding with a band. And that was a pleasure, Okay. Like,
I mean, like
this is great. I
beautiful
can just strum
relief,
a guitar,
right? And you're not like on a bus. I've never heard that before. Like that is genuinely amazing.
Because I'm holding on, I'm holding on to the pillar just to stabilize.
And
myself.
you didn't get paid hazard pay as well. Like
nowadays you'd have to, right?
Yeah, but like far out. I would love it if it was one of those buses that had the toilet in it as well, and you just went and sat in there for the last 10 minutes.
Wow,
that would be the ultimate. Like I'm getting out of here.
Right, I don't think it did, but they hadn't. They were all drinking. There was an esky in there, and they're all
I'm always amazed by how certain people act at their work functions as well. We have had so many comedians on here talking about how they have been treated by people at their work function.
Yeah, right.
And I used to work in a theatre restaurant in Melbourne. I won't name the name.
But
it's no longer here. Oh, look. It was vampire themed.
Right.
You can put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And so many work functions came in there.
Yeah.
30 people grabbing the staff. Like literally like honking.
No, really?
Honking's probably not the best. Well, first of all,
which is fantastic. It's a great title for an album, mind you.
No, sorry, honk should only be thought about in an absolutely positive way. But like just grabbing and squeezing like breasts and butts of the servers, and like just like trying to get on stage or like screaming things. I think which you should not be using those words anymore. Like, but I have not heard certain words like
the
that.
Word chinos, like
exactly, the C word.
The C word.
But like other, slightly more.
Man, but just the groping alone.
Stuff. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, right. And I'm like, you're not at work, but these are people you work with.
Isn't it bizarre?
We're at work as well. Like this isn't okay.
Yeah.
So I'm always blown away by that kind of stuff for work functions.
Funny.
Yeah. It's like
funny in the hideous way.
I know what you mean, because I say that sometimes. Like, this is funny. I'm like, I don't mean funny, haha. I mean funny as in like
it's so absurd that it happened.
Yeah. And in hindsight, I think a lot of the time, like with a bit of distance between it, you're like, you look back and you're like, this is crazy.
It is pretty crazy. Like I think about even just stuff that you could get away with on stand-up stage, like only like 5 or 6 years ago. Compared to now, it's changed heaps.
Oh, so much as well.
It's just what happens. But
absolutely as well.
But I find American stuff, they seem to be getting away with more.
It's weird, isn't it? Right?
They're still doing it, and you're like, I thought we were past that or something.
Is it just because there's a larger population in America, maybe. So you find your niches and they're much more vocal and larger?
Yeah.
Whereas Australia, you kind of like you don't have your separate clubs for different things.
There's not enough people here there's not enough people here to really have good niches that can survive by themselves. You kind of have to appeal to a lot of people here.
And you can have your online...
The curse of Australia, but bloody love Australia.
Oh, me too.
This
genuinely.
is the thing. I love Australia so much. But for the arts, it's really hard because the population's not there to support everyone in the arts and really give them a good living, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, it's tough as well because like we rely on so much overseas work.
Yeah.
But so many people are proud to be Australian, but I'm like, they never seem to be proud about the content that's made here as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so a lot of
interesting.
Australians have to go overseas to make it, and then they come back and they're like, yes, look at this person now. And you're like, yeah, but you didn't really give them a fair go here. Like,
man, it's sad that I just don't. I think there's limited opportunities here.
That's very true as well.
And Australia do tend to, and I think to the detriment, play it safe a lot of the time and don't. Not enough nurturing. Anyway, look, there's a whole argument there, or a whole discussion. But you see the same faces on TV a lot.
Yep.
There's not that many jobs going around. Nope. So if the same faces are getting them, where do the new talent go? You take a chance overseas where there's probably a bit more opportunity.
Exactly.
And so that's just how it goes.
Look, I love a lot of stuff that Australia produces, but it's also a lot of the time it is that TV show or that film of somebody that's moved away from a small country town and then they've moved back to something and everyone has a mystery about them and they're solving a murder. And like that is a lot of Australian content. And I love it. I
do love a whodunit though.
Yeah, me too. But I'm like, there's cities in Australia. You can represent them as well. Yeah,
that is true. Yeah, Australia's got its own little thing going on, which I don't. Yeah, I like and I don't like at the same time.
Yeah,
I feel like someone said this that Australia should really focus more on a genre and just hammer it.
They used to be really into their horror,
right? Yep. So that's a prime example. It's like we were doing good, but I think Australia needs to go action, which we kind of are starting to.
Yeah.
With like, what's the Hemsworth one?
Fall Guy?
No.
Extraction?
Yes. Right, so has the sequel come out yet?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, I need to watch it.
Yeah, it was meant to film in Australia as well, but then it kind of, a lot of stuff fucked up. Like, again, that stuff's not filmed here. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Australia.
Wait, was the first one filmed here?
No.
Really?
Yeah. So Australia used to be massive in the 70s for a lot of action as well. Yeah, okay. And then it kind of just fell off.
Yeah, you had Mad Max, right? So that was a big thing.
So a lot of those guys around then as well, and like turkey shoot and all that kind of stuff was like huge.
Yeah.
And then it just really fell off, like it went through its phases again. But I think bringing it back, and there's some amazing things shot here with like action-based, even just... I don't know, like 6 years ago, Lee Winnell, Australian director, filmed Upgrade here. It's set in America, but it's all filmed here.
Yeah.
One of the best action movies, like, I'd say full stop. I love it so much.
Wait, what's it called?
Upgrade. Yeah, nobody's heard of it. That's the problem again, because Australia doesn't...
Wait, how long ago are we talking?
2017, maybe? 2018?
Wait, was Liam Neeson in that one?
No.
I saw that one. I forget what it was, but I was just seeing parts of Melbourne and Sydney everywhere.
Marksman? Was that one? Liam Neeson's also here just now as well.
Is he? He's back?
Yeah, he's back.
He's always here.
Yeah, he films a lot of stuff here, hey?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. But never set in Australia.
Yes, right.
It's always just shot in Australia.
I've got no issue with like things being shot overseas.
Oh, that's fine.
I just think as long as we're producing it and we're using talent, I guess shooting overseas you use local talent, but as long as the main cast are kind of hailed from here and everything, that's great.
Yeah, I'm all about that as well. And I think,
do you find, and this is, I feel hesitant in asking just because it says what my opinion is, but like,
okay.
but do you find Australian shot stuff has a certain look about it? You can always tell it's Australian.
Well, yeah, usually, and the similar sort of way that like a lot of people say how like if anything is meant to be looked like it's shot in Mexico, it has that certain filter over it. Australia does have that kind of like washed out look to a lot of the stuff that's shot here as well.
I just find there's something about the lighting or something. It's
very harsh outdoor lighting, I find, in Australia.
Yeah.
Which is just Australia itself, I suppose.
It's true, but even like the indoor stuff.
Yeah.
There's something... I can't put my finger on it. But if I see a trailer come up, within like 5 seconds I can go... This is shot in Australia. Yeah. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah. And it's like, for better or worse again as well, but I don't think it's visually very striking as well, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, look, it could maybe come down to cinematography and all that kind of stuff, or angles and lighting as well, but everything. But Russell Crowe did one here, and that was when I went, that looks very American.
Oh, okay.
But it was shot here.
The one that's coming out just now?
It was Cards.
Sleeping Dogs?
Cards? Something about him, Cards?
Oh, yeah, I know the one you're talking about. Far Out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched it. I thought it could have gone in a different direction or whatever.
Yep. Okay.
And whatever else. But look-wise, I was like, that doesn't look Australian.
Yeah. It's also, I suppose, dependent on like if it's an American team working on it too as well.
Right. I think that's what I'm saying. So it's obviously something to do with the ethics or the working values of each country, right? They just operate on a different level. And that obviously has a massive influence over how the thing looks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But again, like it's I don't know, maybe it's just personal choice a lot
I think
of the time
it is,
for people.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, well, like, obviously, know what you're thinking about that as well. So
no, but I love Australian stuff, and the more the merrier, man. I just hope there's more stuff coming for both of us to get some work, and everyone else.
No, it just does. No. Let's cancel everyone else. Let's us just take the work.
Yeah, we'll just take it all.
We'll start bringing.
I only do one character, so it's going to have to be that.
Is it? Yeah.
Just the one.
Sad man on a bus.
Yeah. Sad smelly man on a bus.
Oh, smelly man as well.
But he's gorgeous.
He is. Well,
that's there's a lot of makeup. So I'm giving a lot of makeup people work because they got to make me look gorgeous.
Of course.
Wardrobe obviously has to go nuts with getting that wardrobe together
and cleaned afterwards.
I need some acting coaches, obviously, because I'm not very good at acting. So
no, it's great, isn't it?
Got to get the sad on. Once again, I'm not I'm not an earnest type of actor, drama guy. Really, I would love to do a drama though. I've never been able to do. I've never had the offer to do one. Never,
right.
I've auditioned. I've auditioned for stuff, and even the self tapes, I send them in, and I go, I don't like that at all. I just go.
Tough when you
even
don't
I'm
like
not buying it.
Yeah. That's a rough go. Especially
need acting.
The first person watching it is yourself, and you're like, this isn't good.
It's not good. But sometimes you do. I surprise myself. Sometimes I'm like,
that's nice.
Okay, that's actually not bad.
I also think everybody has it in them as well. Yeah. Like everybody that's like a drama only person has a bit of comedy in them, and every comedian has. And
I think it's a penny drop moment. The penny will drop and you go, oh, that's the thing. Okay, great.
Or it's finding the right character as well.
Yeah, maybe, for sure.
Or the right script or like the right person to work with. Because a lot of the time...
Well, you know what I like in my dramas? I like comedy scripts.
Yes. I like to cry and laugh at the same time. Simultaneously, a lot of the time.
I'll just say to the director, do you mind if I just, instead of crying, I can just laugh? That would be great.
Maniacally as well.
Maniacally.
Yes. I'm the Joker now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
So they actually call me the Australian Joker.
Well, imagine if you got that title.
Oh, God. I don't think I would want them on the podcast, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. No,
that'd be a real rough one.
But who was it? Malcolm McDowell, who did the Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
Isn't that a prime example of someone who did his job so well that he didn't really get much work after that because he was so convincing in that deranged role?
Yeah, I think Anthony Hopkins had the real problem with that as well afterwards as well.
Okay. He seemed to do all right after.
He has, but like I think there was that big gap where it's just like, no, he's just the psychopath guy now.
That's true. What was he in that Joe Black? Meet Joe Black?
Oh,
Joe Black?
That's right, yeah.
Was that after? That was before? I don't know.
I'd say that'd be after, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I was like, that was quite close after.
Yeah. Maybe he was shooting them roughly the same time.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's it. They didn't know how much of an
came out first, and they're like, oh, they fucked this for us, damn it.
I reckon that must happen a fair bit.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. The podcast dog has broken in. There we go. Oh, no.
Well... That was
gone. That was very quick. I've never seen her do that before.
Oh dear, I don't like.
No, it's all right. It's fine.
This is by clapping, maybe just.
No, she loves it. It's all right.
She loves most people.
We'll finish the podcast up there. Unless, do we have any more prepared stories that we want to finish on?
No, that's pretty much it.
No, that's it. Beautiful. All right, so we'll finish this up so you can go and have a proper hello to the podcast dog.
Yes.
But yes, like please. Spruik Honk again as much as you can.
Well, yeah, it's the new album available on Spotify, Apple Music, any streaming service it should be on.
Yes.
Even TikTok, it's on there if you look up the music. But Honk is the new album. It's definitely less tongue-in-cheek. The other ones, because I was doing comedy at the time, the other ones had a bit more of a comedic lean.
Yeah.
This one I've just gone, this is just good music that I love listening to and I love producing. And more to the point, songs I can just just wrap my chops around because I sing big in this. So which is what I love doing. So
and big voice as well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I love singing. I just love it so much, and I love the feeling you get when you hit notes that are big. It resonates through your body, which I'm sure you've done a bit of singing through acting.
See, I'm terrible at singer though. I like to sing it, but they don't hit that well. But then I hear people like yourself, and I'm like, that's what I want to try and do.
Yeah.
I will give it the same gusto, but I sound terrible.
Doesn't matter. Just hit the note and feel the resonance of your vocal cord. It goes through your whole body. And then, anyway, I love it. I love singing so much. And then, so that's what this album is about. Just me going, let's belt this stuff out. And so the first single, Gimme That, was a big one.
Oh, love it.
And then, all the rest are kind of along the same lines as that. Old school rock and roll, but a lot of soul in there too. There's a couple of slower ones, but they're not that slow. But you've got to mix up an album.
Of course. Yeah.
So, but yes, and then in a week and a bit's time, we got the album launch, the live launch with an 8-piece band.
Yes.
Which I've had these guys do in the past launches as well. They're just really good musos, and it's going to be a fun night at the Bergy Salsa in Brunswick.
Now, is that invite only, or are people allowed to attend that?
Oh, yeah, tickets available on Oztix.
Yeah, beautiful. Again, this will all be linked in the show notes as well, so please come and, firstly, go and click on all the links. But yeah, go and pack that venue out as much as we can. Sweet. That'd be so exciting.
Yeah, it's a fun show. Like, I make them fun and big.
Yes. And maybe you can do a little gig on a bus afterwards for anyone that wants it as well.
Please, can I do that? Oh, God.
If anyone, reach out to Oliver if you want him to rent a little, even just a minibus.
Oh, minibus.
A little 8-seater.
Any bus. Just any bus will be great. I'd love to hang onto a rail for dear life and provide a comic relief.
I know where to get a few buses just now. That Liam Neeson film is currently shooting on a bus, so we can try and get that bus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you on that film? Maybe.
Anyway. Nothing interesting. I'm just doing a little bit of background, not background stuff, but a little bit of stuff. Yep.
Brilliant.
But yes, is that album getting a physical release at all as well? Can we look out for it anywhere?
I do. I'll eventually put it on the vinyl. Yep. I'm definitely not pressing CDs this time around.
Fair enough.
Yes.
I do hear a lot from people wanting vinyl now, though.
Yeah, vinyl's. I love it, and this album is so geared towards vinyl.
Oh, I was going to say, because I was like, this sounds like a shoe-in for a vinyl release.
It's a shoe-in for a vinyl. Recently I got rid of all the CDs that I had lying in my cupboard.
Yeah, right.
From prior albums. I kept the jewel cases and recycled them because, I couldn't, that much plastic, I was like, I can't throw this out.
Throw it
anyway,
in the ocean.
people took it. So, nice. I had like 10 boxes of jewel cases.
Oh, wow.
I took out the slips and the CDs and just gave them that. So that's good. Repurpose. But,
awesome.
Vinyl, let's hope so. But man, once again, there's limited vinyl presses here. And it's expensive. It's expensive to press vinyl.
Problem, isn't it?
And, so you hang on to this vinyl, which is way heavier than CDs as well.
And so much more fragile
vulnerable
as well.
to heat and all that stuff. So if you leave it in a hot car, you're kind of fucked.
You just got soup. Yeah. But if people are wanting to keep an eye out for any of those possible releases, where can they find you as well?
Find me on Instagram, the Oliver Clark.
Yes.
Is probably the best place. That's where I do the most social stuff. It's definitely Instagram.
I think Instagram seems to be the one. Like,
I like it.
A lot of other people
easy.
have the other ones.
Facebook's still going. I've still got it.
It's there.
It's there. You can find me on that too. But go on the Oliver Clark on Instagram.
Yeah, beautiful.
.com.
And then as well, you did a little TV show as well. Any children listening? Planet Lulin? Lulin? Is that what it's called?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did I send that through? How did you find
No, I do my research before these shows.
Oh my God, that is so new. Where did you find that even?
Oh, I have my sources, don't you worry.
Great. Well, I haven't even seen that. And
have you not? Okay.
I did that, and I know Zachary Ruane from Auntie Donna.
Yes.
He was a big character in that. It was such a small role.
Oh, really?
But I had a producer friend who was on it, and she thought of me for it. So I was like, once again, did not have to audition. What a joy.
Look at that.
There you go.
Yes.
I finally got one that I didn't have to audition for.
For the funniest character name, which I don't even know how to pronounce as well. There's like a B and a Z in it.
Because it's a
alien
planetary.
Stuff. Yeah.
So essentially, I was a time traveling tourist.
Yes.
No dialogue, just all movement. So I haven't seen it yet. It's up. I need to go. I'll watch it tonight. Actually.
So any 10-year-olds listening, check that out.
Check that out.
And I can only apologise for the rest of the podcast that you have listened to.
Yes. Also, weirdly enough, that producer who got me that role gave me another dream come true.
Yes.
I got to voice a Sesame Street cartoon.
I saw that, and I was like, "This is real Sesame Street.
This is real.
That's amazing.
Real Sesame Street." So if there's anyone with kids out there, and you happen to see Sesame Street, and you see the 7 Haircuts cartoon, animation, that's my voice on the top.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, 7 haircuts for 7 people.
Wow.
Who do we have today?
Oh, you don't even need to watch it now. You can do the whole thing at the end here now. Well, that's amazing, genuinely.
Oh, that was amazing. And they go, okay, do your normal voice or your elevated voice, and then we'll do an American one too. But Sesame Street came with the original voice. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's nice.
That's so cool.
And someone said to me the other day, they go, imagine if your cartoon for the kids nowadays became what that other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 became that to the new people. I was like, that's interesting. Imagine if that became
It would be one of those things as well where you are such an integral part to children's lives, but they have no idea who you are as well. Yeah, it's so funny.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'll link that as well because that's
please,
huge.
that's on YouTube. That's
huge.
Great. Yeah, sweet.
But yes, please go and pack out, download.
YouTube also. I've got a lot of stuff on YouTube.
Yep,
you can even, I think there's a bit of me and Will Arnett on there as well.
Yes, fantastic.
I think that's up there. And all my video clips are quite good. If you want to see
and music videos on there as well.
All my music videos on there. I've got Give Me That up there, obviously. But one that's quite good and works with kids a lot is Making Muffins.
That was I think the most streamed Spotify song as well, is it?
Maybe, it probably is. It is. It definitely is. But the kids enjoy it. But also for parents, there's a lot of Australian comedians in that video clip.
Oh wow! Yeah,
wearing a cat suit, being a cat. So it's quite fun.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm gonna check that.
Have a look at it. Yeah, it's
awesome.
Pretty funny. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Anyway,
well, in that case, same for every week for myself. Won't be forgetting that pod across most of the social media platforms, and then myself, Seb Muirhead, Muirhead across. I'm mostly just YouTube and Instagram myself as well. To be honest with you,
it's fun.
Yeah, it is. And also, I don't want to go on X or Threads. That stuff scares me too much.
Threads no interest, but X no interest either. I quit Twitter a long time ago.
Good on you. I think that's for a mental health aspect.
I've heard that. I never got into it that amount to realise, but I've had people say they got off it for that reason.
I've heard that exclusively almost from everybody that's got off it too. But we also have a Patreon page as well, patreon.com/won't be forgetting that pod. Anything that you can give is genuinely appreciated. But if you're not able to give, we do have a little review section down at the podcast listener of choice as well. So scroll right down to the bottom there, give me 5 stars. That'd be very much appreciated. Subscribe as well, tell a friend. And you can write whatever you want in the review box, as long as it's 5 stars.
5 stars only, please.
Yeah, 5 stars. And you can write something weird, mean, creepy, nice. Compliment the guests. I mean, don't write anything weird about the guests. No. Only me, please.
And it's a system like the Michelin star, but it's the Michelin Man.
The Michelin Man.
5 hat Michelin Man.
5-star Michelin hat man tire. Write that in the reviews, please, for this episode.
He had great tread.
Yes. Oh, there we go. I think that's a perfect way to end the podcast. So thank you once again, Oliver. You have had fantastic tread on this.
Thank you so much for having me on.